Start recording. Let me change the view so I can see you guys. Okay. So per usual, I want to know like how you're feeling. Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling defeated? Are you feeling unmotivated? How is your team feeling? Like where are we at? Right. So we're gonna talk, hi guys, all things month end and just about like motivation in general. So let me know in the chat, how is your, like, what's something that your team is struggling with that you're struggling with leading them on, if that makes sense? Like, what's something that's coming up where you're like, man, I just don't know what to do, and my distributors tell me this. The amount of Amber Alerts that we get here is scary. Are you serious? We get Amber Alerts here like at least once a week. That is still public safety alerts or Amber Alerts. I mean, me too, but still, it's like, Jesus, we never got them at home. Really? Okay. Let me read the chat. Yeah, okay. Let's start. Notice going. I feel like death. Yeah, I do not miss that, Kiana. Struggling with duplication and not dragging people through the biz. Can you guys hear me with I know it's really loud background noise, or is it fine since I have my AirPods on? Just don't. Okay, perfect. I'm feeling great personally. I'm struggling with my team to keep working and duplication. Okay, well then I feel like this is gonna be the perfect Zoom for us today because number one, this lady is like mowing. Like, of course, she's freaking mowing when I'm about to do it. So, motivation. Let's talk motivation first, and then I'll kind of dive into your guys' stuff that you're talking about here. But when I've talked about this on umpteen amounts of Zoom, and I don't know why it stuck with me so much or why I felt like it was exactly what I needed to hear. But there are two things. It's Oakland's old cheese. I'll clean it up later. There are two things that come to mind. This is like mom life, y'all, and in an Airbnb. Go on, get away from me. Go. So number one is I watched a video or like read a book. I can't remember which it was, but it's by Mel Robbins, and it's like why motivation is garbage. And she goes into this whole thing of like, we so often are like waiting for a time when we're going to feel motivated to do something. And that's just so unrealistic. Like, the truth is, I don't know about you guys, but like, I'm never freaking motivated. I'm not motivated to get up in the morning. I'm not motivated to make my damn coffee. I'm not motivated to fill in the blank, right? But you do it anyways. I know. And it's so damn loud. I'm like, really, the time that I'm coming out here to do Zoom, you're going to just mow and like an idiot nonetheless. She's like literally pulling the lawnmower behind her. She's not even pushing it. She's literally like pulling it. Anyways, sorry, y'all. It is too damn early. But Mel Robbins, why motivation is garbage. Okay, right? Like, we don't feel motivated to do anything. Like, honestly, I don't feel motivated to freaking change my kids' diapers, but you do it because you have to. And Amber Erickson, when I was talking to her, and you guys have heard this, and I say this literally a million times, but she told me, she's like, we get so comfortable with the fact that this is a business and we don't have someone looming over our heads telling us what to do, that we get complacent. And we feel like we need to have motivation to get the things done when ultimately we need self-discipline. And you, at the end of the day, have to be that person because we've taken on the responsibility of being a business owner, not an employee. that we have to take on the responsibility of doing it, whether we feel like it or not. And there are so many times, you guys, where I'm exhausted and the kids are just like crazy. And there's everybody screaming in the background, like going nuts, right? And the last thing that I want to do is send messages. But I saw a video and I think it was Rachel Hollis, and she was like, if you're tired, do it tired. If you feel like shit, do it feeling like shit, right? And Kiana, I love that what you said, because it's spot on. Work based off of what you want, not how you feel. If I work based off of emotions, or when I felt like working my business, or when I felt like taking care of my kids, I would never do anything. If I did what I wanted to do all the time, I would literally lay in bed, go to the gym, eat, drink coffee, repeat. Like literally, that would be my life. But guess what? That's not reality. We all got bills to pay, right? Like, unfortunately, life is not free. But I want to ask you guys really quickly, did you watch that the Mindset Mentor podcast that I put in the team chat last night? If not, that's okay. But I really want to encourage you to listen to it if you haven't already, because literally the whole podcast was, what would you do if money wasn't an object? Like, and it wasn't just like, what would you do? Like, what's your passion? Blah, 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 right? Like, no, he literally goes into specifics about what happens when you want to do something, AKA this business, right? And you want it to be your full-time income, but you have bills, right? And he's like, I'm not telling you to quit your job today when you're not making enough in your business to be able to pay for your bills, but you're looking at the fact that you want to quit right now. And what I want you to change your perspective on is looking at where you want to be in 2 years. And if you want to quit your job a year from now, I know you want to quit it today, but maybe you can't, right? How hard do you need to work, and what do you need to do over the next 12 months so that you can quit? And we talk about all the time that we overestimate what we can accomplish in a long period of time, and we underestimate what we can accomplish in a long period of time, and we overestimate what we can accomplish in a short period of time. But it's all about perspective. And it's because we're looking at the short-term goals. We're not looking at the grand scheme of things. We're not looking at the fact that life goes on, and regardless of whether or not you're where you want to be today, you're going to be where you want to be in a year if you do and take intentional, inspired action, like point blank, period. And when you want something, like, I think he's eating a bug. He does that when he's eating bugs. Anyways, when you're taking inspired action, and I actually made an entire podcast on taking inspired action, and you know, there's such a balance between like not working off of your emotions, but at the same time, like when you feel fired up and when you feel excited, that's the best time to work. That's the best time to send your messages. That's the best time to reach out to your team and to get them fired up too, right? But if you feel like shit, that's obviously not a good time to do those things. That's not to say that you can't do income producing activities when you feel that way, right? Like, obviously we have to get it done regardless of how we feel, but that means putting a post up, adding to your story, doing self-development, growing your network, right? Like, do the follow-ups and sending your messages and interactions with people when you feel good, but do the other stuff regardless of how you feel. So I really want all of us and everyone who's watching this on replay too to like change our perspective from, I'm not where I want to be right now in my business. Well, guess what, sis? Me either. And I guarantee you, when you're ambassador, you're not going to feel like you're where you want to be either, because you're going to want a 2.0 account, and you're going to want your husband's account there, and then you're going to want his 2.0 account there. We never stop working. And there's an entire Jade Hooper video on literally your Oakland. Careful, honey. I just almost spilled my hot coffee on you. You got to watch out where you're going, okay? She's talking about you're always climbing the same mountain. Like, there's never a time when you're going to stop welcoming new distributors or welcoming new customers. Like, there's not a time where you're going to like hit a certain rank or a certain income level and then stop working, because you are a CEO. Imagine if you owned a business and you're like, cool, I made $100,000 this year, I'm cashing out. Like, no, you're going to build $1 million company, right? So we have to shift our perspective and shift our mindset on what are you actually working for, And I was talking to a distributor yesterday about some issues that she was having with her team, and this will kind of lead into your guys's questions too. But she was struggling with getting people to work, and I really want to touch on this because it is like one of the biggest things that I hear from people. Number one, you cannot force people to work. And I promise you, if you convince them and drug them into this business, you're going to have to convince them and drag them to work. It's going to feel like pulling teeth. The people who want this and want more for their life, it will be like the easiest distributor to train. It will be so amazing when they do it on their own and they are proactive and they're asking for all of the things, right? You can put meat in front of a dog, but you can't force them to eat, right? Like you can put water in front of the horses, but you can't force them to drink. You cannot pull people's teeth. So if you're wondering, why are my distributors not working? My number one question is, are you working? Because if you're not working, I can damn near guarantee you that your team's not working. My second question is, have you gotten down to their why and what they really want? Because if not, how are they going to feel motivated, right? Like part of our job as leaders is to cast the vision. Are you just, Yeah. Are you casting the vision for your team? Are you getting down to the nitty gritty of like, okay, and this is exactly what I told this distributor yesterday too, is like, we have to, as leaders, come from a place of love always and keep our doors open always. But I will not sit here and force you to work. I will not convince you to work. But I have conversations that are tough with my team. And I say things like, because I figure out their why, right? Now I'll throw that for all intents and purposes in their face and be like, look, you joined this business for this. And you joined my team. You trusted me to bring you or help you achieve that. How am I supposed to do that if you're not willing to do the work? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, this is your business. This is your paycheck, not mine. Your paycheck and your work ethic does not determine mine. My work ethic determines my income, right? But I am more than happy to show you how to be successful if you're willing to do the work. And we need to have a conversation right now on whether or not you're willing to do the work. And if the answer is no, then let's not waste either of each other's time. The door is always open. If you decide that you want to come back, I'm here for you. If you decide if and when, no ma'am, that you're ready to do the work, I will be here and I will be your biggest cheerleader. But I have people, and this is like permission from me to you that I've had to get from my leaders too, of like having these conversations and telling them like, look, there are other people on this team. There are other people that I have enrolled that deserve my time and deserve my effort. And I will be here for you if you want me to reach out or if you want to reach out to me. But I can't pull your teeth to work if you're not willing to do it. Like there are people who want this, and those are the people that I need to give my attention to because they want it. And I think so, no. And I think so often we're like wanting these people to work instead of looking for the people who are going to do the work. If they're not going to do the work, you guys, then like, let them do their thing. Stop trying to pull their teeth. Just do your business and focus on enrolling new people. I heard this 80-20 rule. 80% of your time goes towards your mindset and your personal business. 20% of your time goes to your team. Then you break that down again. 80% of your time goes to the people who are working. 20% of the time goes to people who are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And that's how you have to look at it, right? So as far as duplication goes, it's going to come from number one, taking care of your customers. And number two, working your personal business. That's like literally the biggest way to do that. Then just doing the best that you can to show them how to work this business. That means, okay, you know, how do you learn best? Do you want me to send you the 10-day training up front? I don't want you to be overwhelmed, but if you want to go through it on your own time and not have me like breathing down your throat, making sure that you're doing everything, I can send it all to you right now. And I will literally send the entire 10-day training to my distributor if that's what they want. And if they don't do it, that's on them. I gave you the step-by-step process on how to do this, and you chose not to do it. That's not on me, right? Or I will give them the option of, okay, I have a 10-day training that I can send you. Do you want me to send it in full? Or do you want me to take it step by step with you and show you literally step by step exactly how to work this? And I have people who do one or the other, right? And so allowing people to do what works for them best is really going to help you guys with getting people to work, right? And that's where that duplication comes in. It's just simple, like down to the basic training, right? Where your 6 list, listening to self-development, following top leaders, like all the things that you learned, right? And I have 2 different trainings in the team page on how to train distributors. So if you look up like newbie training or whatever, there's so many different like ways that you can do this. Oakland, enough. You're gonna break that. Go the other way, please. I do not like repeating myself. And I don't like raising my voice at you either, but I don't appreciate you not listening to me. You know better, right? Okay, so go the proper way and quit stepping on that. Thank you. She's like gonna break the air conditioner. She's like stepping on the hose. I'm like, girl, yeah, we've talked about it a million times. I love you. You're not in trouble, but you need to turn your listening ears on. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yes, lead the horse to water, but we can't make it drink. And that is so true. And it's such a weird and hard thing to like figure out in your business. Like, honestly, you guys, leadership is the one thing that I don't think I was ever prepared for. And it's something that I'm always growing in this business, because it's like, it's hard to learn and to shift from, especially when a lot of us work 9-to-5 jobs, like from a manager perspective to a leader, right? Because all I want to do, like truthfully, the red in me is like, what, baby? Okay, go ask your dad. The red in me wants to be like, don't come bitching to me when you're not making money because I gave you the task to do, right? Like, you know, get it together. And then the yellow in me is like, it's fine. I understand that you're having a hard time, right? Like, I know where you're coming from. So it's such a balance of me like being a total biatch or me just like being compassionate. And that's something that I've had to learn too, is to like tone down my red, because reds attract yellows, right? And the red in me is going to scare off my yellows if I come across that way. So you kind of have to like adapt to what they need you to be. And that's why we have people take the color personality test. But ultimately, y'all, like, you can't force it, is the best way to say that. And the best way to create duplication is to focus on your business. Follow that 80-20 rule, right? 80% on you, 20% on your team. And honestly, you guys, like after 3 years in the business, I've really learned that if people want it, they will do it. If people want this bad enough, they will join. You don't need to pull teeth. It's unnecessary. Like, clearly, I have leaders on this team now who want this as bad as I do, point blank, period, right? And I have people who are doing the work. Clearly, look at our boom thread. And there are clearly just as many people who don't work. And that's okay, because I don't waste my time on them. And I know that that sounds terrible. Like, I'm here for them, don't get me wrong. And I will always be here for them. But I give 80% of my time to the people who are running, because I'm running. And I can honestly say that, you know what I mean? And I don't think that that's unfair of me. When you decide that you want to show up like I show up, I'll show up for you. right? So you have to have that mentality. When you start showing up, like I show up every day, I will give you 100% of my time. But if you're going to be 20% in, 80% out of this business, you can bet that I'm going to give you 20% of my 20% of my time that goes to my team. Like, that's just how it is. So focus on getting new blood. Focus on not looking for the motivation and just getting the things done. If you're tired, do it tired. If you feel like shit, do it feeling like shit. Like, y'all, I've been through it all. I've been through it all. And you're going to go through it again, a million times over. So we just have to understand that we're not an employee and we don't have managers. And we have to put our CEO hats on. Like, that's what I've literally been telling myself recently is like, okay, it's time to put the CEO hat on and like be a boss bitch, right? And I have to just like train my mindset to be that way. It's not something that I was born with. It's not something that I had in the beginning of this business. It's something that you grow into, and your team will grow into that too. You have to give them the time. You have to give them the opportunity to show up, right? And they don't know what they don't know. And that's where the compassionate side and the love aspect has to come from, because we started exactly where they started too. You know, you have to remember where you started and what your mindset was like when you very first started this. Like we just talked about the other day on a Zoom where we all were like pessimists, like not in love with life, didn't know what to do. None of us knew how to work this business. We were scared. We had all the self-limiting beliefs. So you have to give them grace. And we can't get frustrated with them, right? But at the same time, you do have to draw your boundaries and draw your lines. So do you guys have any other questions or things that you want me to go over before I let y'all go? Was that helpful? Does that like answer your questions or maybe like reiterate your thoughts? Do you have a certain message you send to DPs that ghosted you after they started the work? Yes, I do. And I can send it to you. A lot of times, I don't know, I have this like rule with myself, and it's not like set in stone, but that's garbage. No thanks. It's not set in stone, where basically like for the first week, I'm going to be like on my distributors, like every single day, whether they reply or not. I'm like, let's go, let's go, let's go, right? And after a week, if they're not showing initiative, if they're not showing like they want to work this business, I back off a little bit. And it's like maybe once a week, right? For that first month, I'm kind of like really on them for the first week, every day. And then once a week after that. And then after that, be careful, please. And then after that, I'm kind of like, whenever I think about it, or them, whenever I think about them, or when they pop up on my feed, I'm talking, or when I'm pushing for a promotion. And I know that that sounds bad, but like we need people to work, to promote, right? So I'll reach out to them like, look, new month, new you, regardless of where you've been or what you haven't achieved or how you have felt in the past, it's a fresh start. Are you willing to start fresh with me? And if you've dropped the ball on not following up with them and not reaching out, and they fell off because you didn't do your job as a leader, oh, I'm speaking. Don't scream at me, please. I don't appreciate that. Thank you. If you want my attention, just come up and say, Mommy, can I talk to you, please? What do you need, baby? Okay, I love you and I'll play with you in a minute, okay? Mommy's working. Give me a minute. What was I just saying? Oh, like I literally sometimes have known, like, especially when we have $20 kits and everything, and I've literally, because like I'm proud of the fact that I'm a mass DT enroller. Like that's something that I've always been comfortable with. It's something that I've always been confident with. I'm good at enrolling new distributors. Not that I don't enroll customers, but DTs are definitely my strong suit. And so when we have $20 codes, like last year at conference, when we had $20 codes, I enrolled 52 distributors that month. So like training 52 people in 30 days is a lot. And oh shit, sorry, I was like chewing away a mosquito and totally spilled my coffee all over me. But I will admit to them and to you guys now and to myself that like I totally dropped the ball on some of them, and some of them could have and probably would have been diamonds on this team by now, but I didn't do my job. And that's kind of why I don't just like enroll anybody now and enroll as many people as I can, because I can't possibly train 52 people in a month. And I'll talk to you guys actually about this in a second. But I'll be like, look, I know I dropped the ball. Are you willing to start fresh with me? Like, are you willing to like give this another shot? Let's work together one-on-one over the next week, getting down the nitty-gritty and teaching you how to work this business and focusing on a goal over the next 30 days, you know? But as this team grows bigger and as your teams grow bigger, this is where you create not only duplication, but layered leadership. And this is something that I'm going to start implementing more with people who I feel like are ready. And that's like you guys, for example. I would be comfortable doing this with you guys. But until you have strong leaders on your team, I don't necessarily want you to do this. But because our team is getting to this point, and because you guys are getting to this point, when Otis' son, get over here. Thank you. Good boy. Yeah. Is when I enroll somebody and I place them under one of you guys or whatever, anywhere on your downline, I'm basically going to enroll them and then kind of give them the training or go through that first 10 days with them. And then I'm kind of going to like hand them off to you guys, right? So I'm going to kind of be like, okay, we've made it through your 10-day training. You now understand what you need to do every day in this business to be successful. I'm going to introduce you to your Ruby, to your executive, to your distributor upline who I placed you under, and they're going to be your first point of contact, right? Like I'm handing the baton over to you. And when your team starts to get to this point that I'm at right now in my business, you can do this too, right? And that's how we avoid, because obviously you want to, if you can enroll 52 distributors, that's freaking amazing, right? So, but you can't possibly give your time to 52 people. So when you have leaders that you trust on your team, that you know your process and know how to work this business and know how to be a good leader, then you can kind of pass the baton to them and be like, okay, now you know what to do. You're going to go to this person now. And if you can't get a hold of them, then come to me, kind of a thing, right? Because you don't want to enroll someone and then be like, okay, here's your person, and they have no clue who this person is. Like they joined you for a reason, right? So you want to give them the time that they deserve, but at the same time, you want to allow your leaders on your team, your key players, to be able to take on that responsibility of leadership. And when we're an ambassador team, there's no way that I'm going to be able to reach out to everyone. And this is kind of why, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I was talking to Rochelle about this, because I have so many people, you guys, that are not even on my team at all that reach out to me for help. And it's very overwhelming, because I obviously have my own team to take care of and also my personal business to take care of. And again, I have to draw boundaries. So because we have so many people on this team now, and because I'm at a point in my business where I can do this, I've stopped introducing myself to all of your newbies, because I can't be there for everyone all of the time. And that is why you enrolled them. That is your job as their enroller, as their leader, to help them. Not that I'm not there for them, but I've stopped just like giving my number out to anyone and everyone, because I would burn myself out. I would not be able to get back to people in a timely manner, right? And that's, again, taking away that ability of leadership for you. Like you have to learn and grow through leadership like I have had to, right? And that comes with taking the bull by the horns and falling on your face and messing up and getting back up and learning from it, right? Both as a leader and in your personal business. So right now where you guys are at, like pretty much until you're diamond, you can handle your team. You can handle every person that you enroll. I promise. You know, it's just going to come from like being intentional with your time and drawing those boundaries. But when you're a double, triple, like you have hundreds of people on your downline, I don't expect you to do that either. But I do want people to have multiple people to reach out to if they need something, right? Does that make sense? You get like what I'm trying to say. Anywho, so yes, Kiana, I love that. And I'm like I talk to people how I talk to my friends too. Like, and Kiana saw this the other day when we were messaging with one of her distributors. I'm like, hey, keep it 100. Like, where's your head at? Are you in or are you out? You know, and sometimes you have to just have those tough conversations. And I'll even say too, like there was a girl the other day who told me that she didn't have time for self-development. And I go, sis, I love you 2 bits. And like, I'm just going to be real for a second. I hope this doesn't come across rude. And I hope you know where my heart's coming from, but you have time for what you make time for. And I don't really feel bad that you have a shitty attitude and you're not doing self-development. You can listen to something while you're in the shower or while you're driving and you're simply choosing not to. So you need to decide if having a good attitude and having a good business, having good conversations, having good relationships is important to you. And if it is, then you need to make time for it, point blank, period. And I'll help work with you on a schedule if that's something that you need help with. But I can't have sympathy for the fact that you're not making time for something that's crucial to your business and to your success in this and in life, right? So get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations, right? Don't be rude. Come from a place of love, but be real. And they'll feel more comfortable being real and honest with you too. And I'll always say, like, thank you for being honest and actually telling me that you're not doing self-development, because the first step is you not lying to me and saying that you are when I know based off of what you're telling me that you're not, right? Thank you for being honest. But let's be real with each other. That's a choice. And I can't feel bad for that. And you can't have a pity party over that. Make a choice to make a difference, right? So again, just drawing those boundaries and being strong enough and confident enough, both in yourself and in your business, to be like, no, you need to do it. And if you don't make time for it, that's okay. But you need to understand that you're not making time for it. Therefore, you're not seeing the results that you want, right? Like, we can't have a pity party. You can't expect someone to feel bad for you. You're either going to get it done or you're not. And again, that's just where it comes down to, like, you can lead the horse to water, you can't force him to drink, right? I can tell you all day long you need to do self-development, but if you don't do it, don't come to me when you're complaining about the fact that you haven't been enrolling or you're not getting good responses. Well, where do you think that your mindset's at? Confrontation irks me. I know. I feel it. It's hard. But you got to be willing to have those tough conversations, because it's like, look, you chose me to lead you to success. I'm not here to stroke your ego. You're not here to stroke your team's ego. You're not here to tell them what they want to hear. Sometimes you're going to piss people off, and that's okay. I'm not here to tell you what you want to hear, and you can be mad at me for 3 days, but come back to me in 4 days when you did what I told you to do, and now you're seeing results. And I can say, I told you so, and hug you because you did it, and good job, right? But again, like, you have to, that's like part of being a leader instead of a manager, is not just like, okay, I understand. It's like, no, fix it or don't. And I'm going to show you what you need to do to fix it. And I'm here to help you. And it comes from a place of love. And I'm here to work on it with you. And we'll create a schedule, and I'll create the script for you, and we'll do it. But I'm not going to do it by myself. Like, you got to be just as fired up, and you got to be just as willing to do the work that I show you to do. Right? That's just a red in me. So I'm like, get it done or don't, baby, because I got 10 other people who are ready to get it done. My boyfriend finds me very funny. I'm a spitfire, y'all. If you don't like it, you join the wrong team. But there is a line, and I try. It does make sense with fair friends. Yeah, I try not to like be a total smash, right? Like let's just be real. I try my hardest, but I'm not afraid to piss people off either, because I want so deeply in my heart, and every single one of you that knows me knows my heart when I say that I truly, deep down in my soul, want you to be successful. And if you want to be successful, then sometimes I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear, and I'm going to tell you what the truth is. And sometimes the truth hurts. And sometimes I'm going to call you out on your bullshit, right? And you have to be willing to do that with your team too. And it's so hard, especially when we have friends in this business and we've made friends with people. It's like, you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, right? But at the end of the day, this is business. And at the end of the day, this is your paycheck. And at the end of the day, this is their paycheck. So we can be friends all day long, but sometimes that means telling each other the truth, even when it hurts. And if you're going to come to me or your team is going to come to you about enrollments or not being where they want to be in their business, then you have to have those tough conversations. And you've got to be like, okay, look, and I've asked you guys on a leadership Zoom the other day too, like, when you were most on fire in your business, or when you had the most enrollments in your business, or you felt the most excited, what was different then, or what were you doing then that you're not doing now? Right? And you know what? I guarantee you it's because you've dropped the ball on something. You've stopped sending as many messages, or you've stopped listening to as much self-development, or you stopped growing your network, or whatever it is, right? So have those conversations with your team. But Oakland is literally driving me nuts in the best way. She wants to play with me. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I will upload this recording. But I hope this is helpful as always. And I love you guys. Have a good day, Mac.